Okay, we're rolling.
Good.
So you can start that with your phone? You got that thing? You got the thing hooked up to
the... Such a vague reference for two people. First of all, hi, I'm Jimmy, and I don't want to get too introductory here, but I'm here with David and Billy, and we're trying to come up with, like, if we do a podcast or something,
right,
what it would be.
Did you want to talk about Bernie?
We can.
Or do you want to talk about our hands, or what did you want to talk about?
I mean,
Perhaps we should clear up what exactly this.
The hands thing, I can't help with any of it because I wasn't there for it.
It was 4th grade, and I can't remember exactly. One of us saw a character or not a character. We saw a name in like a book that we were told to read, and the name was Stu. And me and Jimmy thought that was really funny. I don't remember. I guess I went up to Jimmy and just did this.
Did what?
I made my fingers walk over to him, and I just said, "That's a Stu," and I kicked him or something like that. I don't know what the hell I did. So that started a whole thing.
Can't be vocally recording something. You say, "I do this."
Well, okay. So I took my 2 fingers and I made them walk like a man would, I suppose, if he were fingers. And he walked over to Jimmy and kicked him and said, "This is Stu."
Did you like that movie?
What?
Walk Like a Man. With Howie Mandel?
Oh, yeah. I did, actually.
I did too.
And Christopher Lloyd?
Christopher Lloyd was there too, yeah.
What was his name? Bobo?
Bobo.
Yes, that was Mandel's name.
Yeah, and then they asked him what his name was in court, and it was like Bob Ooga 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 Luga.
So I don't remember that. It's been so long since I've seen that.
I know, I don't remember that.
You don't remember Bob?
It's been a long time since I've seen Walk Like a Man.
I haven't seen it for years either.
And I don't even know if I wanted to see it, how I could see it right now.
But I remember Bob Ooga 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 Luga.
Okay, so David's hand was named Stu.
Yeah. And Jimmy came up with Blow.
Yeah.
I don't remember how that...
My hand was named Blow.
Yeah.
But there were other hands. There were other hands, but there were other characters.
There were Smudge, Limburger, Utter, Stu-Ed, which you never saw. And Jimmy had weasel curtains.
I did. There were Stu babies, too.
There were Stu babies.
Wow.
Yeah.
So Stu-Ed and Stu made Stu babies?
That was the assumption.
Or were they siblings? Was this an incest hand?
No. I mean, I didn't know anything about it.
We were 10.
Yeah.
We didn't get too much into like the background of these things. So.
Yeah.
But there's tons of video.
There is.
Oh, well.
Yeah.
There's one on YouTube. Right?
And here's some right now.
This is our studio where we do all of our thinking. Hello. This is my good friend David, and the person who's taking the pictures are Jimmy. Today we're going to show you a movie. Put your nose up so I can get up your nose. Oh, I can't get it. Today we're going to show you a movie featuring Stu and Blow. Yeah, catch me? Stu.
All right, we're back. See, that's what we used to do. And then we'd get my mom's camera and we would record our hands. Basically, I'd record David's hands. I wouldn't really be in it that much because I'd be recording it. But
well, you would do it because we.
I do it occasionally, but it was really just you walking around my room, picking up things, and
you telling me basically not to throw things at the ceiling.
Don't throw things at the ceiling fan because you want to throw the dolls at the ceiling fan.
I can see your dad in the other room sitting there drinking a beer. Like, I wonder if they're having a good time in there.
So, Billy.
Yes.
What was your favorite cartoon growing up?
That's a hard one there. The earliest cartoon I can remember, that I remember watching, was Banana Man.
Yes. Those were definitely on Nickelodeon.
Yes.
Yeah.
That was one of the earliest cartoons I remember first watching.
See, I don't remember that.
They would show those
Danger Mouse and Banana Man.
I remember.
Those were time-filling cartoons.
They were.
Banana Man was a time-filling cartoon. They would show, usually when they would show Danger Mouse, because that's a BBC show too, they would show Banana Man to fill the time.
Correct.
Mine was always the Flintstones. I always loved the Flintstones.
I did like the Hanna-Barbera.
Yeah, and I think I saw them, for some reason I want to say, there's a channel called TBS, but I don't know, I don't have cable anymore, so I'm not sure if
it's still there.
Yeah.
But it was on 27. And I remember we used to have those old slider cable boxes.
Yeah, I remember the slider boxes.
And I would always watch the Flintstones. Yeah. And obviously Nickelodeon, but I would see stuff like Fraggle Rock.
Yes.
And
I saw that on BBC.
Pinwheel.
Pinwheel, yes.
Oh, Pinwheel was my jam.
Pinwheel was fantastic.
Yeah.
And what was the one with the big... as soon as you say it, I'm going to know it.
What about David the Gnome?
I do remember that, but I didn't watch that much. I just remember the big dragon.
Peter? No, not Pete.
Eureka's Castle.
Yes,
Eureka's
yes,
Castle.
there you
Yeah,
That was
okay.
Magellan.
That was
Magellan.
yeah.
Okay,
That was all Nick Jr.
That was all
stuff.
Nick Jr. stuff. Yeah.
I remember that.
Yep.
Which is funny because I think I was too old to be watching Nick Jr. when I was watching Nick Jr. Well, David's my age, but you're a little bit younger.
I'm
so
like 2 years younger.
Right, but it's just like I still feel like I was watching Nick Jr. past the point when I should have been watching Nick Jr.
Right.
But you remember that stuff too.
I do.
Like the Noozles and David the Gnome,
Yes.
Maya the Bee, of course.
I never got into Maya the Bee.
Yeah, it wasn't that.
I think that was well after my time.
I don't know that you could be too old to watch those things. I mean,
Yeah, they're just all just
David
silly.
Nolan's fantastic, though. I mean, how can you not
Yeah,
like
it
David?
was okay.
and then
It was okay.
how long after did Ren and Stimpy come along? I mean,
Oh, that was in the early 90s.
was it?
Yeah.
I couldn't remember
Yeah.
like the time
Yeah.
difference between like
Oh, yeah.
like let's say like Pinwheel and
And Ren and Stimpy was
Eureka's Castle.
MTV first, wasn't it?
Ren and Stimpy started on Nickelodeon.
Oh, it did go
When
to
they
start
did the,
That's right.
The Nickelodeon Nicktoons.
Yeah.
yeah.
Doug and Rugrats and Ren and Stimpy.
Firehouse Dogs.
Ren and Stimpy was my last major cartoon that I really loved.
I liked Rugrats. I liked.
That was good. It was
Yeah.
fine. I hated Doug.
I liked Doug.
I never liked Doug.
I liked Doug.
I couldn't
watched
get into
Doug.
Doug. My wife said that she loved it, but I just never could get into it with patty mayonnaise and all that stuff. I don't know. It's just, and it's probably good. I just
It is a
never
good show.
could get into it. Rugrats was good.
Yes, Rugrats is great, and even the later Rugrats they released was actually good too. Now, Reading Rainbow, I watched that on the new episodes when they came
Yeah,
on.
that went well into
They did.
the 2000s,
Yeah.
and I guess they came back for a spell there recently
Well,
somehow.
Reading Rainbow was out in like mid '80s.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
it
when it
lasted
started.
for like 20 years.
It did. It
30
lasted for a
years
very
or
long
something.
Is Schoolhouse Rock the one with the bill
Yes.
sitting on Capitol
Yes,
Hill?
the Boo.
Yeah.
Is that
Yeah,
Schoolhouse Rock?
That's Schoolhouse Rock. Yeah.
They would play those on Saturday mornings again to fill time.
Okay.
Like the little Bill guy. Like those
Yeah.
were. That's how I remember those.
Yeah.
Those were time filler.
They
things.
were.
Did you ever watch Thomas Tank Engine?
No, that was well
No, I know,
after
I'm
my
just-
time. That was way after my time.
Well, we would watch it and see Carlin and think that was cool that Carlin was on it.
Oh, that is true.
Yeah, that's
he
what
was,
Carlin was
yeah.
on. So that was cool that Carlin was on it.
Yeah.
Ringo was
Ringo, yeah.
was also the guy. So
Yep.
that was cool. But again, a little after
Our time.
my Barney, I'm not
Right.
gonna,
Yeah, I think that's when
Um,
we just kind of grew up, and
Yeah, I think so. And
you turn 13 or 14 and suddenly that stuff's like
yeah,
lame to you.
yeah, lame children thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even though I love lame now, but that's like
I
a
do
different.
too, yeah.
Barney's a different lame than like
yeah, you don't want to. Oh, you love you. You
than
don't-
like
that's
Eureka's
kinda-
Castle or something
Right.
like that. It's like a whole different level.
Well, that's also nostalgia.
It is.
Yeah, it's
So-
also we look back on those things,
Yeah.
but
Well,
people who are 10 years younger than us look back at that the way we look back at
Right.
whatever we look back at.
Correct.
Right, yeah.
You're like people 10 years younger than us probably watch Teletubbies.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And they probably look back at that in a similar way that we look at
Barney.
They know it's.
Sesame Street. I mean, it sounds insane, but
Yeah,
they
don't
look
say
at
it.
that.
Do not say it.
They look at those things like they're great.
What?
But
He was about to say how he was about to put down Sesame Street.
no, I've never put it down. I'm just saying that we
They're
look
not.
at that in a way that, but that's still a thing that people still love.
I think he was
So-
saying that they may look back at it. Yeah, it was cheesy, but it's part of your childhood. Like
Right.
in a way,
Right.
it's still nostalgic.
That's why you said when you ask me what my favorite is,
It's hard to pick.
I have no way of picking that because
Well-
there's so many different ones that I enjoy. Such
Well, I guess what I meant
So
was
grandly.
like if you were to go home, and like you needed because as goofy as this sounds, the Flintstones always made me feel comfortable.
Yeah.
Like it was something I could always watch.
comfort food.
Yeah,
Right,
exactly.
right.
And like so, if you were to go home
It was,
and you needed something comforting,
right. So you liked watching the Honeymooners?
Oddly enough, Jimmy introduced me to that.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Very
yeah,
good.
and like
Very
I
good.
didn't.
Which is the Flintstones.
Correct.
Yeah, I
It just
didn't-
sort of,
that's why I
it just
said
sort
that.
of seems
That's-
like a natural
That's why I
thing.
said that. Yes.
I didn't know that till like many years later.
And once you like see that, you're like, oh my god,
It's
that's insane.
It
That's
really-
what that
yeah.
is. But
Yeah.
yeah,
It
it's
is,
so like there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had no idea. And then, like, I went over to Jimmy's house, and he had on VHS just at least Honeymooners, and I was like, "Well, what's this all about?" So,
because Barney.
well, what's this all about?
Barney is definitely Ed Norton.
Oh yeah,
of
yeah,
course.
absolutely.
I mean, it all lines
Yeah, it
up.
all lines
Yeah.
up perfectly. I mean,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah, I mean, Fred's Jackie Gleason,
correct.
and
Yeah.
but you started making the comparisons, and Jimmy made them way before me because he knew about the Honeymooners.
Right.
I knew nothing about them.
Okay.
But
They actually, Hanna-Barbera went to Jackie Gleason and said, "We're doing this,"
Oh well,
and he had to give his consent.
makes sense.
And at first he thought, "I'll sue him," but then somebody—I always hear these stories. Who knows if they're true? But he was just like, "Well, it'll help. It'll sell what I'm doing to have this animated version." So they did actually go to him and say, "We're ripping you off. Is that okay?" And he was like, "Yeah, I guess it's fine."
and they ended up making, in my opinion, like one of the greatest cartoons.
Yeah,
it was a fantastic cartoon.
It came on in prime time.
Yes.
For adults to watch.
Yes.
I mean, in fact, all the I can't think of like a weak Hanna-Barbera cartoon. Like I loved Jetsons.
Yeah, Jetsons
as
were
well.
great. Yeah, Jetsons were good.
I loved. I think Top Cat was a Hanna-Barbera cartoon.
Yeah,
I like that.
Big on Top Cat.
I liked it. I mean, I wouldn't say it's up with their best, but I would say
Now, outside of Hanna-Barbera, I did like Looney Tunes as well a lot.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah, Looney Tunes.
Love Looney Tunes.
Well, that's a category on its own.
It really is.
I mean, they're just
because there's so many different genres of just Looney Tunes. It's not just Bugs Bunny. There's Foghorn Leghorn. There's all kinds of different.
That's like classical music.
It is.
We're talking about all these riffs on
maybe
jazz.
why I like classical music so much. Because I grew up watching
you know that music because you watch Looney Tunes.
Correct.
Like you know Barbara Seville, you know all that because of
Looney Tunes cartoons. Right.
It's funny to know that they're like, I think they were really just created for adults because you're watching it and like many times like Bugs Bunny would just say a name of a random actor. He'd be like, I think Spencer Tracy did it better. As a kid, you don't know who the hell Spencer Tracy is.
Yeah, you don't know who Humphrey Bogart was, and he's doing a Humphrey Bogart up there.
Well, remember when we were kids, we loved that Tom Turk and Daffy cartoon.
Exactly. Oh yeah.
And there's the thing where someone betrays Tom Turkey, and he goes Quisling,
and we had no idea what
we didn't know what that was.
No.
There was no Wikipedia. We couldn't what is Quisling? Of course, Quisling is like it was a World War II. It was like a traitor in World War II or something.
Yeah.
So and of course that was topical, but now we could look that up. But then we thought they were saying whistling. So
we kept saying whistling. Like whistling. What does that mean? Like he's whistling it because he's hiding inside of a snowman.
A snowman. Yeah.
What about the Tex Avery cartoons?
Well, Tex was the man.
He was
the man.
Is that Screwy Squirrel and stuff like that? And Droopy?
Yes. Very early Droopy.
Yep. Very early Droopy.
Droopy and the Fox.
Yep.
Or whatever.
Yeah.
He did a lot of early Looney Tunes.
He did a lot of early Looney Tunes as well. Yes.
Tex Avery was.
And Tom and Jerry. He did a lot of Tom.
I like Tom and Jerry a lot.
Yeah.
I did, but there was parts of Tom and Jerry where I think I asked you about this, Jimmy, before. Like later on in the Tom and Jerry. You could see that the animations were different. And I think I came to you and I was like, do you notice this? And I think you said it was because they had to cut back to like something with a war or something about, and I could be totally misquoting it. But I thought you said...
Excuse me.
Talking about Tom and Jerry and Billy just farted.
I said excuse me though. It wasn't just like let it rip and say nothing.
Like you could tell the animation was like really, it was really choppy. And you said, I think during that time they weren't funding cartoons as much because they were trying to
after the war.
Right. Yes. Okay. So
and cartoons were moving from being something that adults watched in a theater to being something that were just shat out on TV.
Yes.
Okay.
So Tom and Jerry, and then Chuck Jones started doing a lot of the Tom and Jerry, which I don't care for those Tom and Jerry's as much. They're cuter.
They were cute,
and they have they have a Chuck Jones way about them, but they're just cheaper cartoons.
They are cheaper cartoons. Yes.
So that really. Once those and Looney Tunes did that too. There's a lot of later Looney Tunes that
blew my
terrible
mind when they talked.
Tom and Jerry. In that terrible movie.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was horrible.
Yeah. What movie?
No, even when the cartoons they talked.
Oh, did they do it in the cartoons?
One of the later on they did one of the cartoons where they talked and it was just like mind blowing. It's like why?
And they're friendly to each other.
Yeah, which is I mean, they were friendly to each other on certain episodes.
Well, if it suited the plot,
right?
But normally they're just killing each other.
Normally they're enemies. Correct.
I remember when Wile E. Coyote talked in a cartoon.
I like when Wile E. Coyote talked
because he's talking about how he's going to catch the road.
He's a super genius.
I like that. I like that a lot.
That was good.
That was good.
But I didn't remember Tom. Of course, I didn't see the movie.
But that doesn't catch you off guard because Bugs Bunny already talks. Fudd already talks. Foghorn Leghorn already talks.
Well, that's true.
I mean, a lot of the Looney Tunes characters already talk.
Yeah. I liked Wile E. Coyote and the dog. The Hey Fred.
Oh, hey,
Oh,
Ralph.
yeah.
Morning, Ralph.
Morning
And
Ralph.
then,
Yeah, those
and
cartoons.
those
The
were
sheepdog and
he always
Wild.
tried to sneak up, and the sheepdog just beat the piss
I
out
love
of
the
him.
sheepdog. Yeah, the sheepdog was fantastic.
It's weird. I guess that wasn't Wile E. Coyote though, because his name was
Sam?
Sam?
or
Sam.
something?
and he had a red nose,
He did.
as opposed to Wile E. Coyote who had a black nose.
Right.
Maybe. I mean, drawn almost exactly the
It
same.
was drawn
but
the same, except the nose was different.
The difference, yeah, it was just the nose.
Yeah.
Because the people who made those cartoons just didn't give a It's
No,
like,
they were
Morning,
good.
Sam.
like there's no continuity. It's just like we're going to do whatever we want
Yep.
and put this in the theater and hope people laugh.
We're gonna
we don't
create
really care.
We're going to create a new character. What's he going to look like? Exactly like
Look
another
exactly the same.
one, but he's going to have a red nose, so
Yeah.
you're going to tell the difference.
Now, the one of my favorite episodes of Looney Tunes was the movie, actually. I like the movie a lot.
The Looney Bugs Bunny movie.
There
There was a couple.
the one with the wishes. With the
Oh, the
wishing well.
Fantastic Island.
Yes.
Or whatever. Yes.
I like that one
Yeah.
a lot. Because the one cartoon they show in there, Sylvester as the Freddy Cat,
Oh,
with the panther.
where the panther like
Yes.
swipes
I
at him
love
and
that.
cuts him into like 5.
Yes,
Are you talking
yeah.
about Daffy Duck's Fantastic
Daffy
Island?
Duck's Fantastic.
Yes, yes.
I love that movie.
That movie's fantastic. I love that movie.
I like.
It's so good.
Yeah, he's going after the panther, and the
Yeah.
panther cuts the dog into 5 pieces.
Yeah,
And Sylvester just keeps sneaking out, looking around.
Yeah. I love that one. That was so good.
Charleston.
It's like I grew up watching those, but those movies are weird because like they cut from like the cartoons that were made in the 40s
Yes.
to the animation in the 80s, and
Right.
you're like, what? And like Mel Blanc's voice
What the hell's
is
going on?
30 years different.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And they're strange and bizarre.
they are.
There was Quackbusters.
Quackbusters.
There
yeah.
was the Looney Bugs Bunny movie.
Yep.
Um,
I like Quackbusters too.
there is, what was the Fantastic Island? There's
Yep.
another one I can't think of.
Yep.
Because they would always reanimate and have like some kind of like story going
Right.
on to
Yeah.
cut back to those
Yeah.
old
Now,
cartoons.
Tiny Toons was fantastic.
Yeah, Tiny
Well,
Toons
yeah,
is
that's a
Tiny
Going
Toons
back to
was really-
Fantastic Island, I know what you're talking about because Daffy Duck walks up to the wishing well
Mhm.
and throws a coin in, or
Mhm.
somebody throws a coin in,
Mhm.
and they go to the episode of Daffy Duck as the superhero,
Right.
Yes.
as a
And it was one
Stupor Duck.
of the
Stupor Duck,
older
yeah.
episodes as
Yeah.
well.
It was an old episode,
Yeah.
so and when they flash back to him, he's like, "You call yourself a wishing well?" And you can tell it's like he was saying a 30-year
right. 30 years
difference
gap.
in age, so
Yeah.
it didn't even sound the
Nothing
same.
like-
Yeah, it's Mel Blanc's voice as a 60-year-old man as
Yep.
opposed to a 30-year-old
30-year-old
man.
man. Yep.
And you didn't, as a kid, you don't really realize.
You don't realize it, no.
Something says this isn't off, but you don't really know
No.
why.
Why
Those
it's
movies
off,
just
right.
existed as a way to like use those old cartoons,
Yeah.
so they do new animation.
Right.
And most of the time it was topical.
Yes.
Quackbusters
Yes.
came out when
I still,
Ghostbusters.
I
Ghostbusters
still love
came out,
those. I don't know
Fantastic Island came out when, what's the show with Tattoo or whatever?
Fantastic Island.
Fantastic Island, whatever it was.
Fantastic Island.
That came out.
why. Yeah, with
Fantasy Island.
Ricardo
Fantasy
Ricardo
Montalban.
Montalban. Yeah, Fantasy Island.
Fantasy
That came
Island,
out
yeah.
just because that was popular,
Yes.
so here's a way to repackage old cartoons.
Yeah.
It's like that Heathcliff
Yeah,
movie where it's like they just show like 3 old cartoons, but yet they have like a wraparound story where like Heathcliff is telling his 3 nephews, which is it's always 3 nephews. Why is that?
Why do I not remember a Heathcliff
There was a Heathcliff movie.
with him talking to 3
It's him telling his 3 Sputter, Thud, and Whiz. I don't even know what their names are, but it's him telling.
I swear, I thought that was it. I was like, oh,
That's
That
Woody-
sounds great.
That's Woody Woodpecker.
That's
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay, that is.
It's him telling his 3 nephews.
Isn't that Tex
stories.
Avery as well? Woodpecker?
Yeah,
I thought
Woody
so.
Woodpecker did some.
I thought so.
Or
He did, yeah.
But yeah, there is a Heathcliff movie, which is that same thing. It's just repackaging old cartoons
Right.
with newer animation.
Yeah.
But at least that came out when the cartoon
Well,
was still
Heathcliff
on.
reminded me a lot of Fat Albert, kind of, because of the crew.
you talking?
Oh, the Cadillac Cats.
Yeah, the Cadillac
Oh, okay.
Cats.
I was like,
The
what?
And-
Cadillac Cats are the coolest.
They
friggin'
really are.
things ever.
They are.
What's
Mumbo.
I like the guy in Heathcliff that always, like, no matter what he said, he would always rhyme it.
Yeah.
He was always wearing the damn headphones.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Hector
Yeah.
Wadsworth
Yeah.
and Mungo.
Mungo.
Hey, I'm going
Or
to
yeah.
everything would rhyme.
Yeah.
I just wanted to hang out in the junkyard with those
yeah, it
with those cats and the hot.
Yes.
And I just liked that she was hot.
Now-
Riff Raff with this little guy. I always liked that in cartoons.
So he was talking to his nephews, not his sons. Which
I
means,
think they were his
which means
nephews.
Heathcliff never had
Because
relations
they, yeah,
with.
well, this is fascinating because that you see that in cartoons. Like
You
Donald Duck didn't screw to make Huey, Dewey, and Louie. They're his nephews.
Correct.
Like they always say, "Well, here's your nephew."
Oh, that's a good point.
Because
But Sylvester
don't-
had a son.
Sylvester did have a son. Looney Tunes, I guess, was just like
Spoiled
our
brat
characters
cat.
screw. We don't
Yeah.
care.
Yeah.
But normally it's the nephews
Yeah.
and not until like the 90s, and everyone had a son.
Right.
Pink Panther had a son.
Yes. Even Captain Caveman had a son.
Captain Caveman had a son. Flintstone Kids, like everything became the son.
Yeah, Flintstone Kids. Yeah.
Now you've got me wondering if I know this is totally off, but if Popeye
Bam and Pebbles.
Bam was much later.
Yeah.
But they did.
Sure, but that was much.
It was much later.
Were those Popeye's sons, like the Pip-Eye, Peep-Eye? Was that his sons or was that his nephews?
That's a question.
I think nephews.
I bet they were his.
nephews.
I bet they were his sons.
Oh, you know what? No. They go, gee, Uncle Popeye. So they were his
Popeye.
nephews.
See, there you
I
go.
just did.
That's what I thought. Yeah.
So he didn't have sons.
Woody
So-
Who was his
Woodpecker.
brother?
The hell was his wife?
Who was his brother?
Oh, that's true.
Who was
his brother?
Popeye's brother?
Well, there was Popeye and
Well, there was
Poop Dick Pappy.
there was Pappy, which is the
Well, that was in the movie, though, right?
Yeah,
the
well, that was
dad.
in the cartoon too.
That was in the cartoon
He
as
had
well.
Poop Deck Pappy.
Yeah, Poop Dick. Yeah.
But yeah, a lot of characters didn't want you to know that their character had sex. So
Right.
they're just like, here's your nephews.
Yeah.
Again, there's no ever any parents for Huey, Dewey, and Louie.
No.
It's just here's your Uncle Scrooge or your Uncle Donald.
Yep.
I think Mickey even had like little Mickeys. Like there were like Mickey nephews
Maybe.
in some of those.
Now,
Goofy.
Goofy. Yeah.
Goofy had a kid
He had a kid for a movie.
for a movie,
For a
but then
movie.
they made a show out.
Then they made a show out,
They
right?
made the Goof Troop.
Yeah, the Goof Troop. Yeah.
In the '90s, we were okay with it.
We were fine
We were
with
like, we can accept that
We
our
were
cartoon
accepting
heroes had sex.
We were, but we didn't think about it at the time. We didn't.
No,
Not until as of now, as we've gotten older.
but earlier years.
Yeah.
So did Donald Duck remain abstinent?
I think so.
Okay.
I don't know. I mean, he went on dates, and maybe
With Daisy.
Well, Daisy.
yeah, maybe he was just sterile.
Donald. I've never looked at it that way.
Well, Uncle Scrooge doesn't
Uncle
have any
Scrooge.
kind of family line other than he has
Well, Yeah,
Nephews.
his nephew.
correct.
Yeah, where's
his
his
nephew
brother? Or,
He didn't want any family line
or sister.
though, because he didn't want anybody taking his money, his riches.
Well, that's true. I think in the new DuckTales, they elaborate more on this.
Yeah.
And they actually talk about who the parents are of Huey, Dewey, and Louie. So they
Interesting.
actually fill out that backstory.
I'd have to check.
Like they
that
were
out.
adventurers
That would
who
make
used to adventure with.
with Donald, with Donald and Scrooge. Right.
Yeah, I think they fill it in. It's a good cartoon
yeah,
that they do that.
which is where the adventuring part of Scrooge comes in,
Right.
and
There's
why
a
he's
whole
searching for treasures and stuff.
things nowadays
Right.
are about filling in that backstory.
Yeah.
So he's an archaeologist.
Who, Scrooge?
Yes.
Kinda, yeah.
Kind of, yeah.
Because he's always going for treasures.
Right.
And all that stuff.
Right.
Okay, so he's just a rich archaeologist.
Yes,
Okay.
very rich archaeologist.
Yeah, because you always see him diving into
Yeah.
gold.
That's not able to be done in real life.
Well, no, obviously. Who's Webigail?
Webigail was Nanny's. What it Nanny's?
She was the nanny's,
child.
no, not child,
Niece.
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 Yeah. Niece is another one. Like
Here's another.
Here's your
Nephews
niece.
and nieces.
Yeah.
All
Nephews
over
and
the place.
nieces. Yeah.
all
Here
over
comes
the place.
Webigail Vanderklapp.
Webigail
Yeah,
Vanderklapp.
Vanderklapp.
out of nowhere, and there's no explanation of how she got there.
And nobody thought to question it either at the time.
She just came along
there she is.
with Nanny.
Nanny, correct.
Here's a nanny,
Yep.
and she has a little girl here because we need little girls to watch
Right.
this cartoon too.
Now, I feel bad for Launchpad. I mean, Launchpad, he didn't have anybody.
That's what's so cool about Launchpad, though.
He was just a loner, a
He's just
rebel.
like a loner, like a rebel, Dottie. Like he doesn't need. He
So
doesn't need a.
there's things about him we don't want to know, things we shouldn't know.
There might be a lot of things about Launchpad. we
Things
don't
you
know.
wouldn't understand.
Yeah, I wouldn't go through his browser history. It's-
No, God.
So, what do you think Launchpad would say to children?
He's already talked to children.
He's surrounded by
nephews.
children.
Yeah.
So, how does he approach them?
He's like, hey, how y'all doing? You want to ride on my plane?
that's Launchpad's line.
Yeah. That's what he did.
Like, hey, Mr. McD.
He was a pilot.
Let me see your boys.
Hey, boys, y'all want to go on a ride?
But see, nobody would.
No, nobody thought of anything of that.
Connection back then.
Nothing. I don't think Launchpad was a pedophile.
I wasn't insinuating that. I said, what did he say to
There
children?
are other characters on. Remember Gyro?
Oh, Gyro
Yeah.
Duck? Yeah.
Remember if Gyro Gearloose?
Yeah.
If anybody on that show might have some kind of
Well,
something going on, I think
I
it
don't
could be
know.
that character.
Maybe. I mean, what was his name? Duncan Penderhughes or something like that.
That was from
Class Act.
Class Act.
Right. But his name's something weird like that. Gyro's actual name.
No, that's just Gyro. You're talking about. You're talking about Gizmo Duck.
Gizmo Duck. I'm thinking about Gizmo Duck, yeah.
Duncan Penderhughes.
What the fuck was Gizmo Duck's name?
Fenton Crack.
Fenton Cracker. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey,
Yeah, and it was something weird.
He had a hot girlfriend too.
He did.
this is
He
probably totally, and I think this is after I really stopped watching cartoons. Who was Darkwing Duck? Like,
I like Darkwing Duck.
Well, where did he? Who was it? Was it a Hanna-Barbera? Was it Disney?
That was Disney.
It was
Was it
Disney.
Disney?
That was a kind of a spin-off of DuckTales
Donald.
because Launchpad is in it.
Right.
Yeah.
And it had something to do with Donald as well, so I remember an episode of Donald.
They might have brought him in. Now that's included with DuckTales,
Now.
so it's like it's all one universe.
Outside-
And Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers.
Yeah.
They all
I love Chip and Dale
all
Rescue
together.
Rangers.
Yeah.
Gadget was like one of my...
I know you love Gadget.
Yeah. You did
I mean, it's a good
she
design.
was drawn to attract males.
Who is this? Gadget Duck? Who is it? Gadget?
It was Gadget the Mouse from Chip and
Gadget
Dale
the Mouse
Rescue
from
Rangers.
Chip and Dale's
She has
Rangers.
you know what it is? She has goggles.
She does. Yeah.
Like I always find that a good
Yeah.
look.
I accidentally typed in Gadget the Moose. Gadget the Mouse. Oh, this girl?
Yeah.
She kind of looks like from, she looks like Brittany. Not your girlfriend, but Brittany.
Oh, Brittany from Chipmunks.
Yeah.
Alvin and Chipmunks.
She's
Yeah, I
kind
can
of
see
drawn the same
I can
as...
see that. I
Yeah.
can see that.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
So what do you think of Tom Hanks playing Mr. Rogers? Do you think that's going to go well?
I think it's a phenomenal idea.
Yeah, I think it's a good casting. It's weird to see like him like on the set doing the song. Like it seems like part of me has seen so many parodies of Mr. Rogers that it feels like it's a parody. But then when I see him just like off the set and I'm just being like an old man,
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, I bet that'll work. But it's just weird to see him take off the sweater and do all that. Like,
Now let me ask you. You saw "Won't You Be My Neighbor"?
Yeah.
Did you did you get emotional at all during that? Like, did it just make you feel like, I don't know, like kind of really good inside, and kind of almost tear up a little bit?
A little bit, but most of that stuff I had already seen, and like I knew so much about it.
Okay.
Like it didn't affect me as I thought it would. But I loved it, and it was very emotional. Made me feel good, but I didn't come out of it like blubbering.
No, it's just kind of like, especially like when he gave the speech, like when he was in front. I guess it was Congress.
Yeah, the Congress. Yeah.
That speech was amazing,
Yeah.
and it's like you can kind of see when he's talking to the guy, like the change of heart he has while he's speaking to Mr. Rogers.
That was the power of
Okay, I'm
Rogers.
Sorry about that.
And I don't know, it was just...
What are y'all speaking of now?
It was amazing.
Mr. Rogers.
Okay, what about Mr. Rogers?
Just how good, like actually good of a man he was. And
Oh, it's fantastic.
How like when he went in front of, because Congress was, they were going to stop funding on his show.
Yeah, he was not just his show. It was
Public
on
television
Public
in
television
general.
in general,
Yeah.
right?
But yeah, he went in front of Congress and
He
he
was-
basically told them the importance and,
Insanely smart man.
well, not only that, he was just very
Very knowledgeable,
very-
very kind about it.
empathetic, and he was very sincere.
He was.
And like he really wanted to do what was right for children.
He did.
And he really cared about children.
Yeah.
See, I mean, I guess that's the way you approach children. You want to, give something back.
Correct.
And because, they were seeing, he didn't want to see people, I think he said one of the dumbest things that he saw was like pies getting thrown in the face. And he said that kind of,
Yeah. Remember that.
but he was trying to teach them. And I think that's another guy that, I don't know, is like a 1 in a million person.
Well, yeah.
Like Bob Ross.
Yes.
I mean, you could tell that Bob Ross was really...
Right.
I don't know how you get that.
I don't know how you get that either. What do you mean, get that kind?
Just know how you get that. There's no there's no selfishness. There's no, like, almost no anger in them. There's no jealousy. They just want what's good for mankind. More so Mr. Rogers, I'm sure.
Well, yeah.
Bob Ross.
Yeah.
But I mean, just...
I mean, Bob Ross was a fantastic person who painted happy trees and happy bushes and stuff.
But you could just
He
tell
was
that,
very kind,
like,
and
he was just...
It was an enjoyable painting show to actually watch.
But he just cared about his fellow man.
Yeah.
Like, he wouldn't have...
Mm-hmm.
And there needs to be more of that.
It does.
So that's what that was.
It does make you look at your life and go, what more could I do?
Right.
Yeah,
Kind of thing.
exactly.
It does
I mean,
have that feeling when you think of it.
I don't know. It's just to be that giving of a person.
Yeah.
I wish I could. I could be that. You hear something negative, and you could just let it roll off, and you could approach it with kindness. But
Why couldn't you?
you can't. I'm just saying that's a thing you have to practice.
Right.
That if you see yourself in that situation, you have to be like, well, how can I better approach this? You know, and I don't know. It's a hard thing to do, especially if you've been angry.
You need to put this at the end as words of wisdom with David Estes.
Oh, I'm not wise. I'm just saying.
Kill him with kindness.
That's right.
Yeah, there you go. Kill him with kindness.
I've always
Kill him
said
with
that.
kindness.
I've always said that.
I'm not wise by any means. I'm just saying, like people like Mr. Rogers and these people who can just, I don't know, all they want is to make other people's lives better. Like they're completely selfless.
Yeah,
like
selfless is good.
Like when he brought the black guy on his show, and like he was soaking, like they were soaking their feet together.
Francois Clemens, yes.
And racism was a big thing. He was trying to
segregation was a big thing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And he was trying to break the borders. Like he just cared about. He didn't see colors. He didn't care. He
didn't care at all.
Cared about that particular individual, what they were going through.
Right.
He knew we were all the same.
Oh yeah.
And it's just that's inspiring.
It is.
It's very inspiring.
It's very infectious.
It is.
It is, and
it really is.
And okay, so imagine if that was one of him, and how many people did he affect positively? I would guess many.
Oh yeah.
So if we had many more of him, just imagine how much better or how better the world would be. I know I'm phrasing that wrong, but I'm just saying there would be less hate. There would be less racism. There would be less. Everybody would be wanting to help their instead of trying to get pushing people out of the way to get to the top themselves.
Yes. Now, don't mean to get off the subject.
No, go ahead. I'm just doing.
That's fantastic. I love you talking about this. This is fantastic, Mr. Ed. That's pretty ironic. What
was that? You?
Yeah, that was my hand.
Oh, I thought it was Jimmy. I was like, I don't think I've ever heard Jimmy fart.
Shart. Jimmy farted.
I rarely do.
What cartoon adaptation from a movie do you not agree with?
What cartoon adaptation from a movie do you not agree with? I'm assuming you have one in your head.
I have one, yes. I was not a fan of this cartoon.
Give me an instance.
So what do you mean? Okay, so something was a movie.
It was a movie.
And now it's a cartoon.
And then it was turned into a cartoon because it was a movie.
Because it's a movie.
Well, I love Ghostbusters.
Okay.
I love the Ghostbusters cartoon. So I can't.
Yeah, Ghostbusters cartoon is fantastic.
I can't go.
Was it 3 of them? 3 separate different Ghostbuster cartoons?
Well, if you want to, you can say there was Filmation's Ghostbusters.
Maybe Beetlejuice.
And Extreme Ghostbusters.
Yes, Filmation is fantastic.
Yeah, I love Film. Some people don't care for that one, but I love Filmation's Ghostbusters.
I love
maybe Beetlejuice. I mean, I liked it a little bit.
I like Beetlejuice.
I like Beetlejuice cartoon.
Yeah.
Garbage Pail Kid? No, I don't know. That was a card game or a card.
That was a cartoon as well, though.
That is true.
And it was not very good.
Short-lived, but yes.
Very short-lived.
I can't think of one.
Back to the Future.
I never saw the cartoon.
Oh, I like that. I like Back to the Future.
Like the cartoon.
I was fine with it. Did you know there's a Little Shop of Horrors cartoon?
I did not.
It's called Little Shop.
Yeah, I didn't know.
If you didn't know that, here's the opening right here.
Take me to the little shop. I want to go to the little shop. Word, little shop.
Okay, well, we're ending this experiment now.
Signing off.
And we're signing off, and hopefully we can make something about this. And if you like it, tell us, and we'll do more.